Connor's in San Leandro. He's got a question about Rickwood Field. Hey, Connor.
Well, guys, Evan.
Yeah.
Evan, if you do that rundown with Guru, I would definitely subscribe. Listen to that on the Odyssey app. All 4 hours, man. Absolutely. I want to start off about the question that I was going to talk about here by saying I think that what Rob Manfred and what MLB have done with combining the stats is just about one of the most incredible things any of our modern leagues have done in some time. So I got to give Rob Manfred a ton of credit. I criticized the heck out of ghost runners on second base for extra innings, but this is a great move. And part of the reason it was a great move is there's no easy way to do it. Like, it's just surrounded by difficult questions. So as we're talking about the history of the Negro Leagues and how they were born out of segregationist America and Birmingham, I do wonder, and I really do want to hear like a nuanced conversation out of it. I'm not trying to demonize anyone, but is it a good look for the MLB to be selling us all this merch and profiting off of, what really was born out of MLB's original decisions not to be inclusive? And, obviously Jackie Robinson, sports in general, play a huge role in advancing social relations in this country. But given in 2024 how expensive some of these jerseys are, I do wonder where the profits are going and if they are being reinvested in the communities that helped to make the Negro Leagues what they were and are giving us these great stats that, again, Rob Manfred and MLB have done a great job in sort of reincorporating. So thanks for taking that difficult question on the air. It can't be easy to have to chat about that.
Thanks, Connor. That's why we're not gonna. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Dive into the deep end, Steiny.
Well, I mean, look, people can be cynical about it. And I just want to affirm something that you were saying on the other side about, and I first heard it from Howard Bryant, who is a journalist and commentator.
Meadowlark Media.
Yeah, that he, by incorporating the Negro League stats, you are diminishing the league because now they are being just absorbed. So the Negro Leagues, maybe in a generation, people aren't even going to talk about the Negro Leagues because they're just going to assume that they were in the major leagues, which they weren't.
Like, for example, when we were bringing up Willie Mays' statistics earlier.
Right.
So he has an extra 10 hits. Yeah, I don't know how much that necessarily improves his legacy, but, it's not as if those were equal.
Right.
And I'm not saying like he was playing against lesser competition or anything. What I'm saying is that like those are in a separate category or were in a separate category at the time. Like players were not allowed to compete in the major leagues.
Right.
And the only issue that I guess I feel like people have with it, like for example, it's as long as there is a continued emphasis on the education of it, then it is fine. I think the fear that Howard Bryant is trying to illustrate is that once you incorporate it, once you absorb it, well, then there's kind of a track record of a lot of, let's say, Caucasian educators to just kind of sweep it under the rug. Like, for example, in Jackson, Mississippi, and I think this is appropriate, like they tore down Andrew Jackson's statue from City Hall. He was former president. He was also a slave owner. So people didn't obviously like the fact that they're hailing this former slave owner. Well, it's not an issue necessarily to tear down the statue, but it is an issue to then not educate people on why the statue was torn down.
Right.
And it's basically just no longer a reminder of white guilt, essentially. So as long as you're continuing to inform people of why these decisions were made, to the caller's point, why these statistics had to be incorporated in the first place, why they had to be absorbed by Baseball Reference in the first place, well, then there's not as much of an issue with it. The issue is that people don't believe that over the course of time that people are going to continue to do that.
I get that. I mean, my thought, the last caller's, Connor's was thinking about who gets the, and we're watching some of the pre-game festivities now, and there is a marketing element to this, absolutely. But that's not the one that I thought of. What I thought of was, and it's cynical, but What has baseball been lacking lately? It's black homegrown players.
Yeah.
Right? Where did the black kids go who aren't playing baseball, who used to play baseball?
There's never been a smaller black representation in the major leagues.
Exactly. Well,
since integration.
Well, I'm not saying one event does that, but you start making a focus these kind of things, and maybe you restir interest in baseball among black kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the idea of exposure, right? Like, that's how people learn about these things. And they were, baseball was institutional in the South, and a lot of amazing players, not just Willie Mays, have come out of the state of Alabama and have come out of Birmingham, have come out of Mobile, have come out of different areas, and there's also, just like a reason to have this game. It is supporting the field, which, again, by the way, is the longest standing professional stadium in professional baseball. But also, for example, like there's a historically black college, Miles College, that is going to start playing games there in 2025. So this is a kind of game that can, bring to light and expose that program, can bring exposure to historically black institutions, and the fact that there are still baseball programs that are competitive and that can produce great players. Like I think Ricky Weeks, former player for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
He went to historically black college. He went to Southern, I think.
Okay.
So, like, these are, and again, why I'm interested in the event tonight is because it's an opportunity for exposure to all these things we're discussing, but also a reminder to a lot of this has to do with self-education, to go and independently figure out for you why these things matter. And it could just be a trip down, I don't know, Wikipedia wormhole or whatever. But the fact that you're learning about it, the fact that they're putting it on television, to me is significant. It is important, and it is. I know it's about Willie Mays and him, his tragic passing, or not tragic, but an unfortunate passing right before the game. But it is also bigger than him, so to speak.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I'm going to be watching. Definitely. Just going to be watching because it's going to be different. It's, to me, I enjoyed the Field of Dreams game, and I am interested in learning about the Negro Leagues and this stadium, which is the oldest stadium, baseball stadium in the United States. So, Giants Cardinals. What's that? A
4:15.
4:15.
4:15 start. Yeah, this is a good point from the 510, the Xfinity Mobile text line. While I do enjoy the records being blended by Manfred, I do wish they could have made one exception for Lamont Wade for tonight to bend the rules for the right reason. So what he or she is referring to is they added an extra roster spot for this game, and the Giants asked to have Lamont Wade on the roster because, he's the one black player.
Right.
And it was declined because he's on the injured list. So Lamont Wade is technically not active for this game, even though he is essentially the representative for the Giants.
Gotcha. I'm gonna watch the game, Movid.
Who's Mo?
Just one of our texters.
Okay. No, come on.
On the Xfinity Mobile text line and YouTube chat saying, "Stop lying, Steiny. You're not going to watch the game."
Now the real question is, and I hate to put you on blast,
Steiny. Watch some of it.
I hate to come down your road.
Might not be live, but go ahead.
Are you gonna watch the Say Hey Willie Mays?
Yes, I will.
Documentary.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
I absolutely will.
It's on HBO. I'll give you my login. Shout out Nelson George.
I need a YouTube TV login. That's what I need.
Guru can help you with that. I don't have YouTube.